During the Revolutionary War, democracy was a way of life in which self-government prevailed based on courage, willingness, and determination. During the Revolutionary War, the Declaration of Independence helped lead the way by showing to Britain that the colonies had broke away from Britain and wanted self-government. The Boston Massacre proved to show motivation to get their freedom because a bunch of innocent people got shot at and killed. During slavery in America, democracy was a development in which white men got to prize their natural rights, but in the South, those rights were not granted to those of another race. The North set up underground railroads to try and get as many slaves to safety as they possibly could. Uncle Tom's Cabin showed the pain and suffering of everyday life for slaves and how this was morally wrong. Sectionalism prior to the Civil War had a democracy that was a way of life in which freed white men had two views based on where they lived. In the North, it was based on free labor and the respect of all individuals no matter the skin color. In the South, it was the lifestyle that white men had the authority to have slaves and make decisions based on their beliefs. The Compromise of 1820 showed sectionalism by admitting Maine as a free state, Missouri as a slave state, and banned expansion of slavery north of the southern border of Missouri. The Compromise of 1850 showed this way of life because it admitted Cali as a free state for the North, a strong fugitive slave act to protect owners to recapture slaves for the South, and popular sovereignty vote for the new territories that were just gained. Reconstruction's democracy was a time of which equal rights for all seemed on the horizon, but the storm of people still supporting segregation followed through with the unequal protection. Progress was made by ratifying the 13th Amendment, the ban on slavery, the 14th Amendment, which granted citizenship to all born or naturalized in the U.S., due process of law for all, and equal protection, and lastly the 15th Amendment, which granted the right to vote despite their skin tone. Despite the efforts of government to try and make everyone equal, the Jim Crow laws promoted segregation and public accommodations that occurred mostly in the South. During the Civil Rights Movement, democracy was the way of life in which equal rights for all were to be met through hard work and bravery of the minorities. Martin Luther King Jr. led this movement through his courage and motivation to lead his people to stand up for their rights. The March on Selma was significant because a photographer captured photos of innocent blacks being killed. This showed that this unfair treatment was clearly wrong. Montgomery, Alabama stopped riding buses as a way to protest against the harsh, unfair treatment they were receiving about bus use. The Cold War's democracy was a psychological time in which competition of the United States and Russia were trying to be more powerful and more dominant than the other. The Cuban Missile Crisis was a 14-day mind game event in which the United States had nuclear missiles pointing at Russia and Russia had them in Cuba pointing at the United States, all to try and be the superior country. The U.S. government viewed involvement in the war as a way to prevent a communist takeover of South Vietnam and part of their wider strategy of containment. 9/11 changed our democracy as we know it today. Our modern democracy is a way of life in which economics control our freedom and stereotyped personalities give judgment on Middle Eastern countries. After 9/11, our democracy has still not changed. We still have a lifestyle that is based on economics, and we have a stereotyped attitude toward Middle Eastern countries. Our government has gone through the journey of major events of wars, movements, and some reconstruction to shape our democracy into what it is today. Although it has stopped evolving, there is always some error in our democracy, and one simple event could reshape it into a new lifestyle. All your enemies you can defeat.